Hello, everyone. My name is Deanna. I'm a surface pattern designer, and I wanted to show you for a long time how to sync your patterns if you create them or put them into your Photoshop, say on your desktop, and then they show up in your Photoshop pattern panel on your laptop and vice versa. Why this is a good feature? Well, I worked remotely pretty much all of October, and I created a ton of patterns, and I was putting them into my Photoshop patterns panel only to come home and find when I went on my desktop to use them to make mockups, they weren't there as they had been in the past. And what had happened is Adobe discontinued their preset syncing feature, which would basically sync even for a brush. Say if you made a brush or whatever, it would show up in your panel from one device to another. In my case, I do patterns, and I would create in one laptop and have it show up on my desktop and vice versa. So when I wanted to pick up and go and work and make mockups or whatever. So they discontinued this in September of 2023. And I'm going to show you that in a second. However, I think it still works if you are using an older version of Photoshop. So let me show you what I'm referring to. Whoops. Okay, so if you're in an older version, here's the preset syncing. Here it is. It's under general, and then you'd have all these other boxes. But right here, this preset syncing box is what you would check on both of your devices, and then things would be, they would show up on each other in Photoshop. Now, if you go into Photoshop, that button is gone, or that box is gone. So what can we do, right? Like, what's the workaround? Well, what I have done is now part of my workflow is I make a repeat square in a JPEG with the intention of uploading it into this pattern panel right here. And you get that from Windows Patterns right here. Whoop, I just shut it off. I didn't mean to do that. Let's see, patterns, there we go. So, and that way, when I do pick up and go, if it is not in my other panel, I have a square ready to go. So I'm going to show you that process. So let's go over to Illustrator. Here's my typical workspace. This is where I create my pattern. I typically create for wallpaper, and I create in square. This will work no matter what size in pixels or inches. It doesn't have to be a square. This will work in even if you have a rectangle shape. So these are not what we're working with today over here. These all have different purposes, and I do have a video tour of my workspace if you are interested in what I use all these for. So today, however, we're going to go with the artboard where I created the pattern. And I have my artboards open. It's artboard number 1, and I've called it wallpaper. That's just what I called it. You can call it whatever you want. So we're going to go over to File and go to Export As. So this is the beginning of my workaround. Now, normally when I export all of these artboards, this will be one that I export as a repeat. But right for today, we'll just do the one. So here we're going to go Export, Export As. This is my Amberly in blue. I've already made this one, but I'm just going to highlight it again and show you how all of my files, first of all, have my initials on them. And then in this case, it's the repeat. So I have RPT and then the name of the pattern. We're going to go to Use Artboards. We're going to use, the range would be the first artboard, because that's what's highlighted. And JPEG, we're gonna click export. Since I've already created it, I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. I know that I'm gonna use these on mockups that will be on my website, social media, things of that nature. It's not gonna go for print. So I'm gonna put it in RGB. I'm gonna keep it as medium res. You can make it a lower res if you want, a higher, it doesn't. It's, I guess, up to you. I'm gonna keep it at medium. You do not want type, you want art optimized, not the type optimized art, because we don't have any type in there. I'm gonna click OK. Okay, so now that it's saved, we are gonna go into Photoshop and we're gonna put it in this florals panel. So you go to Windows, Patterns, if you don't already have this opened, and open your Patterns panel. I'm gonna highlight florals, so it will end up in here. So I'm gonna go to File, Open, Designs, Blue. Why won't you go? Come on now. There we go. Took a minute to catch up, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna highlight this one and open it. And there it is. A couple of things I want to check. I'm gonna go to Image, Image Size. I want to make sure that it's a perfect square. In this case, it's 3601, 3601. It should be 3600. So I'm going to change that. Okay. Everything else looks good. Now we're going to go and put it into here. So how that's done is through this plus right here. If you wanted to make a new file category, you would click this. I'm just going to do the image or the pattern repeat. So I'm going to click the plus and you can see right here, pattern name. Now, I've already named it and I'm going to keep it this way. You can change it to whatever you want. It's personal preference, but this is, like I said, part of my workflow. I want to keep things streamlined and simple. So I try to name it from the get-go. So I don't have to rename anything here. I've got that highlighted. There we go. Now it's in there. So the only thing is, like I said, in the past, it would be here. And if I picked up and left to go work on my laptop remotely on vacation and coffee shop, whatever, I could open up Photoshop and in that pattern panel, this would already be there. However, they've discontinued it. It's not there anymore. I know that now when I pick up and go, I already have a repeat square created. I will do the same process on my laptop and put it in there. So that is, let me stop sharing here. That is how I've created a workaround for this situation. I'm hoping Adobe brings it back. I used it a lot. I'm sure others use it a lot. But in the meantime, this is the workaround. Just make a repeat square, have it in with all of your design files so it's ready to go when you're ready to use it. All right, that's it for today. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe. I plan to be doing more as time goes on. And you guys have a creative day and I'll see you next time.